with just, even if it was just a big hug, what that meant to all of us. So she has left a legacy in Watkinsville that will never be forgotten, but I'm especially pleased that we're going to be dedicating this bridge to her today, and we're going to be able to permanently have her make her mark. So again, thank you for all of you for being here today. Welcome, and I'm going to turn it over to Rebecca Verner Holcomb, who's going to offer some remarks on behalf of the family.
In an effort to not cry or 7 times, I just had to write some things down. As Brian said, I'm Rebecca Verner Holcomb. My dad was Brian Verner. He served on city council for as long as I remember. So the city's been important to us for multiple generations. So Mama, Grandma, Nanny, Grandmother, Miss Verner, Aunt Gus, Miss Gus. She was a woman of many titles, but probably the one she was most remembered around town for was the Hug Lady. I've often wondered how she would have dealt with the last 18 months. I can't imagine her being told she couldn't hug people. She probably would have said something like, "Hang, I've survived much worse. Come here and give me a hug. If you can't live life, then are you really alive?" Thank you all for coming. I know everybody muttered and mumbled when I said Labor Day, but it looks like we made a pretty good showing, and I know she's looking down on us and smiling. There goes an I tried to keep my storytelling because I don't want to be selfish and just tell my stories, but a lot of them I'm sure we share. We grew up in Watkinsville First Methodist Church, which used to be right here, and then we built the new church when most of us were still in the children's programs. It was a struggle, but we moved, and lots of Sundays we went back and forth between Watkinsville First Methodist and the Methodist Church in Houston. And when you're little, let's be real, one church service is torture enough, but to be drugged to 2 was even worse. But we got in the truck and we headed up 53, which has changed a lot since then, and we sang On Top of Spaghetti. We sang Jesus Loves Me. We sang all different kinds of songs, and none of us can carry a tune in a bucket. So if you were in the truck, I apologize, and it's probably why you have hearing damage. Summer days were filled with riding in the back of the truck throughout the county, picking up kids from everywhere to head to the park or the pool at Memorial Park. That was a big deal back then because not everybody in Oconee had a pool in their backyard. And we would head down VFW, we would head down Moreland Drive. Anybody that wanted in the back of the truck, Chief, I'm glad you weren't here because we were not in seat belts or anything of the sort, but we did have the camper shell. She walked everywhere. Everywhere. There was no need for a vehicle. If it was within 20 miles, you walked. Brackrow Chevrolet used to be on Atlanta Highway, where the racetrack is now across from Home Goods, what used to be Hobby Lobby. If her truck needed an oil change, she took the truck. She walked back to Watkinsville. When the truck was ready, she walked back to get the truck because she didn't want to bother anybody. She was the beginning of ESP program. She was the assistant principal at the elementary school when most of us grandkids were coming through. Sounds great, not really. Long before email, cell phones, or anything of the sort, our parents knew what we had done wrong before dinner time. I remember one day I thought it would be smart to put my English peas in my mashed potatoes and make a little soup bowl for my chocolate milk. My nickname is Grace. Needless to say, I spilled this lovely mixture on my clothes. Kids today would have used their cell phone, sent mom a text, "Please bring me change of clothes." Somebody else made a mess on my clothes. I got to go to the lost and found box and get a pair of polyester green and white plaid pants. That's been over 35 years ago. I can still feel those itchy pants from that box. When I was a teenager, I'll be honest, it annoyed me. Grandma Verner ate dinner with us almost every night. I still kick myself for thinking I was annoyed, but hey, I was a teenager. We're not real bright. Didn't matter who was there. Didn't matter what we were having. She was there. I would give anything for her to be at our dinner table every night. She brought foster kids. She brought strangers, family members from out of town, whatever police officer was on shift, whatever fireman needed a place to eat. Our door was open to anyone who needed food or a hug. That's the way I was raised, and I hope I've raised my children with the same attitude. As I got older, I was not the best at stopping and spending time with her. I found myself constantly apologizing for not stopping by more often and not taking my kids to see her more often. She would always try to make me feel better by telling me I was doing what I needed to be doing and taking care of my kids and doing as she taught me to do and taking care of any other kids that crossed my path. I could stand here and go on and on for hours with stories, but I'd rather we all get to mingle and share your stories, because I love nothing more than to hear the stories that I don't know or to rehear the ones I do. What I want you to remember is if she knew you, she loved you. If she just met you, she still loved you. Hugs fix problems people may not even know they have. Being kind doesn't cost a penny. Most importantly, blood does not make family. Love makes family. Kids don't ask to be born, and they don't get to pick their parents. They all need someone to love them. Spend time with your family. Life is short. Listen to stories from older generations. You will regret you didn't when you no longer have the opportunity to hear them. Make amends. No disagreement or misunderstanding is worth it. And I can tell you, if she were here and she thought you had a disagreement with a family member or a friend, she would get that paddle out that so many people in Oconee County are very well familiar with, and would tell you to get over it, make amends, and move on. And she loved you. So thank you all for being here today. If you didn't get a hug card or two, please see me to get one. Take one, pass it around to your friends. Everybody needs a hug, especially after the last 18 months. Thank you all again for braving the weather and coming out to honor such a wonderful woman.
Okay, now, if you are a member of the Verner family or consider yourself a child of Miss Gus, raise your hand. Look at that. How many lives impacted? Keep them up for a second. How many lives, raise them a little higher, everybody. How many lives have been affected by this remarkable woman? And if we can take that and we all walk out of here today and think about that as our multiplier force in life, making that kind of investment in people, what a difference we can make in the world. So keep that in mind. Remember Rebecca's words. That was powerful. Thank you, Rebecca. And now if Joseph, if you and your daughter could come up here, we're going to unveil the marker, and then we're going to read it. And then we'll let each other tell those stories that Rebecca mentioned. So this reads, I'll just read it out loud real quick. Augusta Bryan Verner, born 1920, deceased 2014, known affectionately as Miss Gus by many, was a longtime Watkinsville resident who inspired generations of students and local residents with her positive energy, constant smile, and trademark hugs. A pilot, educator, community leader, mother, grandmother, and foster parent, she helped establish Oconee County's first special education program and was selected as an outstanding elementary teacher of America in 1972. Known for taking long daily walks around Watkinsville in her later years, she walked to and from church along Hardin Hill Road most Sundays and was a constant presence on the roads and sidewalks of her adopted hometown. And then we have a quote at the end that someone special sent to me when we announced this. It says, "If she knew you, she loved you. It didn't matter where you came from, how much money you had, or what you thought about her." Dedicated September 2021. And that concludes the official program. We are going to take the tent. We're going to set the tent to the side. And if you're a member of the Verner family, we'd love for you to come up, and maybe we'll try to gather you around the monument here and get a picture, or anyone. And after that, anyone else who wants to get a picture with the monument or with the family, that'll be fine. But we're going to scoot the tent out of the way real quick so we can get some photos. But otherwise, thank you so much for coming, and please visit and share those stories Rebecca was talking about.
You can stay. She can stay.
All those children of Miss Gus, come on up here and get in that picture. She's welcome to come up too.
Gus is doing that for us. She's letting us all see each other again. And the weather just barely made it. The weather. Thank you guys.